My name is Mike Ward. I'm the Global Director of Content at Informa Pharma Insights, and I'm joined today by Richard Onyett, who's the Business Development Director of a Swiss company called ADC Therapeutics. Thanks for joining us, Richard.
Not at all, my pleasure.
So ADC stands for antibody drug conjugates.
Correct.
Now that was a really hot area about 3 or 4 years ago. Everybody wanted a piece of the action, but in recent years it's kind of been in the shadow of immunotherapy. So what's actually been going on in ADC?
In terms of the ADC field per se, I think your observation is right. We've certainly noticed that Big Pharma have been preoccupied by chasing immunotherapeutic assets in the conversations that we've been having with them for the last 12 months or so. I think in terms of your view, yes, that's right, but I think the companies that went into the ADC field early didn't always see results that they would have wished to obtain and get the success, and that's caused them to back off a little bit. And I think that's where it provides an opportunity for a company like ADC Therapeutics, where we have built up a very specialized team which is able to take account of all of the facets of ADC development, which, as you know, is a complex area. And I think that if companies like us can develop more advanced forms of these products, learn from the experimental work we've had to do, I think that then we're in a good position to encourage pharma to take interest in those products, because at the end of the day, they're providing a DNA damaging facility, which, even if you're going to use immunotherapy, you've still got to kill the cancer cell. Yeah. And here you've got a means of targeted therapy to kill the cancer cell. So I think that the two things will come together appropriately in the next year or so.
Right. Could you be a bit more specific about where the previous companies kind of fell short?
I think everybody typically, as the industry often does, became enthusiastic to get into the ADC field. And to be fair, nobody really understood all of the complexities that were going to be involved or be realized. And it took some time. Companies, I think, also thought that they could take an antibody that they may have been developing in oncology and make an ADC version of it, arming it with one of the two early types of payload, the auristatins or maytansinoids, which are the tubulin inhibitors. And they've gone into the clinic, they've taken those into early clinical phase. Some are working out. I mean, clearly Adcetris and Kadcyla have done very well, but a number of the others fell short, and they obviously caused some consternation. I think it caused companies to turn away from those first objectives and those first programs. I think that the learning that's now in the hands of the industry, companies like ourselves and other providers who are looking at the more advanced form of development to give homogeneous drug conjugates where you've got a controlled drug-antibody ratio, not a mixture as the early products are. I think that, plus the optimization of the conjugation process, where you know the point at which you're attaching your payload, all those things are critically important in delivering a more advanced product, and one in which people can have confidence, so that when it goes into the clinic there are no unexpected difficulties.
Right. So ADC, though, it's a fairly young company.
Yes, we were formed in 2012. We recruited our CSO middle of 2012. We've had the good fortune that building up a very experienced team with all the necessary specialities, we've been able to develop programs relatively quickly. We've had the good fortune of cooperating with a company that's able to make our ADCs for us, which is a strategic partnership we have. We don't disclose the party that is, but that's worked very well. So we're able to, from candidate nomination, to take that drug through to IND in about 12 months.
Right, and that strategic partnership, that's for everything that you develop?
It certainly covers all the programs that we have in our portfolio at the moment, yes. Okay. And clearly the team that we have is able to plan and supervise the execution of all of the development up to and including the IND, and the clinical group has the ability to take on and design and execute on the phase 1A and B.
Right, so where did the technology that underpins ADC Therapeutics, where did that come from?
Well, at the time in 2011, our major shareholder, Informa Therapeutics, bought out other shareholders from Spiragen, which had developed the PBD payload technology. At that time, we were then marketing, Spiragen was marketing the payload technology to large pharma to be evaluated for their potential programs. At that time, it was then decided to form ADC with the objective of actually developing ADC products ourselves. And so at that stage, we identified with the help of an expert advisory panel targets that were well validated and appropriate as the priority selection. We then set about licensing in antibodies to those targets. So that was the source of all the antibodies, the targeting moieties. And we were able then to apply the PBD payload technology to which we had rights, which continued beyond the acquisition of Spiragen by MedImmune. So we have continued access to those payloads, and it's those that we are deploying on all the antibody drug conjugates that we're developing. Right,
so when you took that Spiragen technology to create ADC Therapeutics, was the MedImmune acquisition in the pipeline, or?
When we elected to form ADC team, no, that was about 18 months before the sale of Spiragen. So okay. It was a plan that we had put in place, and the company established itself. Clearly, we had defined target exclusivity for a number of programs that we wanted to pursue, and those stay in place after the acquisition of Spiragen.
Right, okay. So 3 years ago, ADC Therapeutics was founded with money from
Oven.
Are they the sole owner of the company?
They are still the single largest shareholder. They were the single shareholder at the outset. More recently, we've just completed an 80 million plus private placement, and that has brought in new money directly to ADC, along with our original shareholders participating and maintaining their shareholding.
Right, 80 million, is that dollars, Swiss francs?
That's US dollars, and the shareholders includes AstraZeneca. They have a minority shareholding in the company, but also it ties in because we also have collaboration around one program, a PSMA, where we will develop the program to IND, and MedImmune will then take on the development of the PSMA ADC thereafter.
Right, okay. So AstraZeneca is a strategic partner on that one program?
Yes, and possibly on one more. That hasn't been announced, but certainly it's a relationship which is working well, and one which we would like to see expanded. But it doesn't mean that but it means that in regard to everything else ADC is doing, it's wholly independent.
Right, okay. So the company was created to develop ADC Therapeutics.
Yes.
Okay, so it does what it says on the label. Where are you in that development? So in the 3 years that the company's been created, what does your pipeline look like at the moment?
Well, the pipeline is broadly based across hematological targets and solid tumor targets. The most advanced program, we had an IND opened in the US in April of this year, and we're treating first patients in phase 1A.
In which cancer?
That's in Hodgkin's lymphoma, and we're also progressing studies in a subset of AML patients. In regard to our second program, which is another hematological target that we haven't disclosed publicly as yet. We are about to file an IND during November of 2015. And then behind that we have a series of another 7 programs that we're currently working on where we've identified targets. Those are at preclinical stage right the way back to candidate nomination. Right. And basically over time those will all flow through, and we expect to maintain the same rate of development or speed of development on all our programs that we've had so far. We've been very fortunate to get to IND in 12 months through our partnerships that we have, and we don't see, and that's really been a benefit in terms of the progress that we've made.
And at what stage do you plan to partner these programs?
Certainly our ambition is to take these programs into the clinic. We may take the lead programs all the way to approval and market. I think the company is financed to be able to pursue the clinical development objectives for those. In respect of other programs that are an earlier stage, then we will clearly look to partner at an appropriate stage, be that late preclinical or around the time of IND. Clearly, each of these programs is expensive, and to take all through would be a major task for a company of our size, although we're well funded. And I think that it will be a prudent balance of what we intend to advance ourselves and those programs that we will look to partner out to help spread the burden.
Right. Okay. Well, Richard, good luck with that. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.